Hey guys, it's your boy CeeLo Not Green, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about the future beta coming up in probably a month and what we can expect from the new hero or heroes that possibly could be added to this upcoming beta. So let's get right into this. Okay, so it's been almost 3 weeks since we've had to mourn the loss of the first Overwatch beta. While yes, I did get a little stale by week 3 of it, I can confidently say that I much prefer the game when it's 5v5 with less shields and CC. I've been hardcore grinding comp recently, and I've actually gotten to my career high of 3466, which is like 2 games from Masters, by the way. The last time I was even close was season 13, which was in late 2018. So,
And it's been a while since I could say my SR's been this high.
okay, I'm sorry for the psychic damage you took from that, and hopefully YouTube doesn't flag that for copyright, but anyway, with that June 16th date quickly approaching in only 2 more weeks, we should get a fatty news drop on that day. I covered what they should be showing off to us in my last video, so if you want to see a more in-depth look at what we should see, click on the card in the top right to watch that video. But for this video, I wanted to take a closer look at the most exciting part of all, the new hero we should be receiving in the next beta. I don't think it's a stretch at all to say that with the next beta, a new hero will be added. Sojourn was a very nice addition, and I can't wait to play her more when the next beta starts. However, she did feel a little underwhelming as a hero release. While yes, she technically is a new hero to the game and her gameplay is incredibly fun, the thing with her is we've known about her for literally 2.5 years now. She was shown off originally in November 2019 at BlizzCon, and then we saw a little bit of her gameplay in February 2021 at BlizzCon Line, so that kind of newness of a hero was kind of gone by the time she dropped at the end of April. If you think back to heroes like Ana and Sombra in the beginning, they had all this mystery in-game and out-of-game around them, or even like Sigma and Baptiste, who really were never even hinted at before being teased and released. That surprise and suspense was missing from Sojourn, and I think her being a kind of underwhelming first hero was because of that. I think with all upcoming future new heroes being added into the game, we can expect that level of secrecy and surprise, even if the heroes that release are characters we've wanted for years like Junker Queen or Malga. So with the beta, what can we expect in terms of new heroes anyway? With Blizzard recognizing the community's issues with supports in the first beta being both super killable and very underwhelming, I think moving forward that will change. Alert full tinfoil hat mode activated, but I think that the supports being a little boring, all things considered, in the first beta was a move that Blizzard could have done on purpose. Really what the first beta was for was testing 5v5 and how the tanks could perform in the game with only one of them out there, so the other 2 roles kinda got put on the back burner. DPS thrived because the nature of 5v5 being more open allowed them more free reign, while tanks got a fundamental change to the role itself, and supports got the luxury of being feasted on because of the sheer fact that tanks got buffed and DPS second-handedly benefited from it. I think with Blizzard admitting to focusing in on supports for this next beta, a new support hero will be added. Tanks got Doom and Orisa, if you count them as new heroes, and DPS got Sojourn, so the next obvious step is to add a new support into the game. I think this is an absolute 100% set in stone thing that we can all look forward to. But that just leaves one question. What hero will we get? It's impossible to really know right now what hero specifically we can expect for Blizzard to show off, but I have the feeling that we can kind of deduce what style of hero will be added. Right now in Overwatch, we only have 7 healers, the smallest role by 2 heroes if you're talking about Overwatch 2. We got Ana, Baptiste, Brigitte, Lucio, Mercy, Moira, and Zenyatta. We all know these guys and gals like they're our besties. We've seen the same 7 faces for the last 3 years. When playing Overwatch, we kind of split them up into subcategories. In pro play and contenders in the Overwatch League, and to some extent the top elos and like GM and top 500, the supports are split between main support and off/flex supports. In pro play, Brig, Lucio, and Mercy are who are considered main supports, leaving Ana, Bap, Moira, and Zen as the flex supports. Main supports are often the real backline, being the in-game shot callers since they kind of have the most vision of the map, whether they're the ones dictating the pace of the game if they're playing Lucio, pocketing a DPS as Mercy, or protecting their off support as Brigitte. I know I'm really oversimplifying it here, but that's usually who the main support players play. Flex supports are often the ones healing the most and making aggressive plays since most of the flex supports have heavy damage in their kits, like Ana, Bap, and Zen. They can take the off angles and really make it tough for the tank line and DPS of the other team. In this case, we have 3 main supports and 4 flex supports in the game currently. However, in regular gameplay, like in lower to average SRs, there's a whole different subcategory classification classification. They're what I'd call primary healers and secondary healers. On ladder, there's not even a single bit of communication and coordination that's on the level of pro players, and those classifications that the pros use are kind of just thrown out the window. Playing something like Break Zen on ladder will get you flamed for the rest of the game, even if it is sometimes a decent comp for pros depending on the meta. For primary healers, I'd say that Bat, Moira, and Ana are the locks. And for secondary healers, there's Zen, Lucio, and Brig. Mercy can be put on either one depending on who the other support on your team is playing. If we go ahead and put Mercy in the primary healer spot, we have a split of 4 primary healers and 3 secondary healers. I think seeing this, we can kind of narrow down what the next support will sort of play like. With Overwatch 2 moving away from heroes explicitly having different abilities to make them wholly unique, I think this next support hero could add some utility to the game. I think the whole support gameplay will be mixed up a bit with this. Before we get into it, I wanted to start off by talking about Moira for a second. There's been talk of Moira getting a new ability of some kind and a change to her orbs, so I think a Moira rework is on the way. I think it's very possible that Moira will have that old cleanse ability that she had on Experimental a few years ago. With Nade and other status effects having more and more impact in Overwatch 2, I think a form of this cleanse could come back. There were a few broken versions on it on the Experimental, like her turning her Fade into a glorified immortality field, making her teammates invincible and basically have a mini Fade of their own if they were in the AoE of her exiting Fade. I'm not really sure how a Fade that doesn't essentially do that would be a good choice. It's just a better lamp on a shorter cooldown while giving Moira still insane mobility with it as well, with her extra jump out of Fade. Honestly, if they wanted, they could just end up reworking Baptiste's lamp to provide good damage reduction without making the people inside its radius invincible. Having that could help Moira's cleanse be that few seconds of invincibility without having too much kit overlap, but then at the same time doing that to Bap's lamp makes him almost worthless at that point, so it's a bit of a struggle finding something for Moira's Fade to make sense in that way. That's why I think this next support hero could just end up being one that has a cleanse on them. It leaves room for Moira's Fade to do something else without making her basically a better Baptiste. As of now, we have a ton of supports that can do a lot of damage and still do their jobs well. Literally all of them can frag out besides Mercy unless she pops Valk and wastes it on DPSing the whole time. So with all of this, I have a feeling that the next support will be mostly all utility and have very little damage output. Okay, so hear me out. So with this new support being mostly utility and healing and having very little damage kind of fills 2 voids in the support roster subcategories. Having a support that doesn't dish out insane damage but rather helps the rest of their team survive or enable them to get advantages on the other team is how many of the main supports in pro play act. And having a support that is mostly focused on healing helps swap out the primary healer slot and would allow Mercy to be kind of what she is now, a single target enabler, and be more of a secondary healer instead. With a support that can be both a pro main support and a ladder primary healer, it fills a void in the roster that I think could be good for Overwatch 2. Allowing your tank and DPS to do what they do, but better and be in less danger could really be a good and impactful support in Overwatch 2. When I say I don't think they should do a ton of damage, I only really mean that as in they can't just be fragging the whole game. They obviously still need some kind of damage to be even playable in an FPS game, but I think having them apply only buffs to your team rather than annoying debuffs on the enemy team allows them to be more of a team support rather than an enemy destroyer. The only other support that plays similar to this is Mercy, and I think another healer that fits a role similar to Mercy could be a good thing. Mercy right now is at an odd spot since she is essentially a pocket healer and that's it. She only applies either healing or utility to one of her teammates at a time, while every other support can do utility and heal multiple people at the same time. I think if Blizzard wants to add a support that can kind of do what Mercy does on a more generalized scale and rework Mercy into a slightly more focused single target healer, it could be a good thing. I expect a ton of new supports at some point, and I think having Mercy fill that niche of single target DPS enabler might be a good idea. I don't know, or it could just make her even less fun than she is now. I feel like I need to make a whole video on Mercy and what they could do to fix her. That'll probably end up being my next video, honestly, so we'll see. So to sum it all up, the next hero in Overwatch 2 to me is a support. In my opinion, they might end up being a support that doesn't deal a ton of damage, but rather enables and enhances their teammates. Maybe they have an ability that cleanses, maybe they can have a team damage reduction ability, or give them a single target speed boost or something along the lines of, "Here, friend, you go do your thing, and I'll make sure you're alive and can do it better." I think having a more generalized support right now that focuses more on utility and healing is something that the game is lacking on, and something I think could be extra impactful in Overwatch 2 moving forward. Okay, that's it from me. What do you think about this idea? Is it good? Is it terrible? Do I need to be punished for my take on the situation? let me know. I have an interesting idea for a hero design and I might put it out there into the world, so let me know if you think any of this is something you'd like to hear more of. So with that, please like the video if you enjoyed or learned something new. Please subscribe and ring the bell icon to see more from me and to get notified when I upload next. And comment below telling me what kind of hero you'd like to see in the upcoming Overwatch 2 beta. A new tank, a new DPS, a new support, and what kind of hero out of those roles. Let me know. Okay, and with that, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.